All right. Hi, Robert. Thank you for coming in today. I'm happy to see you again. So, before we start, I want to first see how you've been doing and how's your day so far.
It's been going pretty good. Felt productive all morning.
All right, that's good. All right. Yeah. Well, I briefly want to review the professional disclosure and confidentiality statement that you signed. And so, as a reminder, everything we talk about is remaining confidential unless you share information about intent to harm yourself, harm someone else, or any form of abuse involving a minor, elderly, or a adult. And so my role of this is if a student as a student counselor under supervision, and in this session is recorded only for training and educational review only. Do you have any questions or concerns about any parts of this disclosure or confidentiality?
No, no questions.
All right, perfect, great. So if there's not any no questions, we can kind of talk about and kind of go into a check-in and also a follow-up. So last session, reviewing my notes, we talked about your anxiety showing up mainly around wanting to feel perfect at doing everything, whether that's with your regular life, personal life, school, or even work life as well. And you agreed to also try the homework of writing down moments when you needed, um, when you feel like you needed to be perfect, some thoughts, and then also doing the 15 minutes of reading as well. So, how has that been going for you so far?
It's been pretty good. Helps me like create a to-do list, and the reading helps just take my mind away from anything.
Yeah, all right. And then so does it feel helpful you kind of like once you get into bed, reading a couple pages for like 15 minutes long to kind of ease your mind and kind of get lost in a book or just anything like that and that you so you don't feel too much anxiety as well?
Yeah, it's a good escape, and I feel like it helps me sleep better.
Okay, yeah, that's always good. Yeah. And then I know that it was a little bit challenging writing down a few things. And even though, you following up with the writing down, I feel like I stated in our last session, writing down your thoughts or feelings is always a good way to just have it written down. And like you said, you kind of been making a to-do list as well, which is perfect. And it shows a lot of commitment on your end as you being a patient of mine. So, can you walk me through one example you have written down?
Yeah, I mean, I just wrote. Usually, I write down just how I'm feeling. I feel like just whenever I feel a lot of pressure, or just honestly, even the good things I write down. But like a good example would be like today, I just talked about how I wrote down about how productive I was in the morning. I feel like it was a really good way to get my day started and rolling.
Yeah, that sounds great. Thank you for sharing that. I can hear how quickly, how you can reframe your thoughts, and that's something that we did talk about in our last session, how reframing our thoughts and is one of the techniques that we can use on our everyday basis, even when we don't know that we're using it or we are reframing our thoughts. We always do every single day. And so when anxiety does show up, it could feel scary at times. But like I said, writing down your thoughts or your emotions really help us to reframe how we think about our day, our emotions, or just anything in general. So I like that you've been working on that and that has shown that it has been something that has been helping you. So that sounds good. So last time you also mentioned feeling pressured and performing perfectly in everything, whether it's school, work, relationships. Something that I'm a little bit curious about is how has that been? The pressure from school, work, and then also personal life.
Yeah, it's like mainly with school. I mean, being surrounded by a lot of like great-minded people really it makes me want to like always do good and be and always have like, full A's. But I've learned it's okay to accept something lower than an A because it helps you build yourself up better.
Yeah, that sounds good. And I really like the way you talk about school and then everything about yourself as well. It sounds like, anxiety might still be there, but also I feel like you have a better mindset on things and you have a better grip about how you don't want to let your anxiety really control your life. You want to be able to control all these other aspects in your life. And it's okay to not feel perfect at everything as well. So that's always good. So that's a really heavy, topic for some people to even talk about and also carry around with them. And so today I like to use a technique called cognitive reframing. It helps us really identify unhelpful thoughts and shift them into more realistic ones. And so I know that we have talked about it in our last session, but I kind of want to talk about it more again and also maybe come up with a different reframing cognitive thought that we can help you even longer in a longer way as well. Is that something that you would like to try to do today?
Yeah, so it was just about reframing my thoughts or
Yes,
like,
yes. So just it's called cognitive reframing. And so it really helps us identify a certain behavior or something that's been on your mind or an unhelpful thought and shift it away to more realistic one. And so the first step is identifying the thought. And so let's just take one ancient moment, maybe from this week that you have. What was a thought that has popped up in your mind that you feel like you have been thinking about or maybe talking about with someone that has just been a thought that has been going on in your mind?
there's a paper I was writing, and this paper I didn't want to turn it in until the very last minute because I felt like it had to be as perfect as could be. So I kept on rereading it, rewriting it, trying to improve it. But some days I just felt like I was wasting my time because I did feel like it was as best it could be.
Okay, yeah, for sure. Yeah, and if you don't mind me asking, what is the paper about?
It was a case study that we were working on in my class about Domino's, just talking about like what they could do to improve like their infrastructure and like their customer satisfaction.
Okay, yeah, yeah, for sure. So what I'm hearing is that a thought that you've had that is you not wanting to turn in a paper, but just because you want to just kind of linger on with it because you're kind of scared of maybe a grade that you'll get. You know that you worked hard on it. You know that you're doing everything that you can. You're following the steps, the rules, the rubric, and everything. But you're just not wanting to turn it in because you could be scared of a grade, especially if this paper is majority of your grade also for a class. Does that sound correct?
Yeah, it does sound correct.
Yeah, so that does sound something that I feel like, that even goes back to you wanting to feel perfect at everything. You wanting to be a perfectionist at everything. And that's something that can easily be a cognitive reframing thought that we can for sure shift. And so it doesn't matter how long we take on an essay or how long we are looking into all of these the rubrics and things in general, we can always really, especially if we feel like we're done with the paper and we've reread it so many times, we can for sure try to reframe our own thoughts and let ourselves know that, hey, I've done everything that I can. I followed this rubric, and I want to turn this paper in so that I don't have to think about it again. But I can see where you are wanting to wait till last minute to turn it in because you're just scared. And that's okay. And that's very valid to be scared because college is such a heavy thing. It's such something that, even just a simple paper can really have a big toll on us as well. And I know with the Thanksgiving break and all that coming up, that could just be scary as well. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I feel like we can for sure work on that and kind of go a little bit more into that thought. And so, what do you feel like when it comes to that thought of feeling scared, or maybe even having a little bit of anxiety behind it? What kind of evidence do you feel like that makes this thought not true?
Definitely going through it with the rubric and understanding that I did mark off all the boxes
Hmm.
could easily be evidence that I have everything needed. I have everything that I should have in the paper. So there really shouldn't be anything scared of.
Yeah, yeah, that's good. Yeah, and I feel like that in itself is really good. That's one thing about having doing papers, you do have a rubric that majority of the time, 99% of the time you do have to follow. So once you feel like you followed everything, you've checked off everything on that rubric, then I feel like once you feel like your heart is ready to turn it in, then you should just turn it in. So have you, at the end of the day, have turned in the paper?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, and so that's a good way to be able to reframe your thoughts. It's even with any thoughts in general, look at what are some evidence that you can find that makes this thought not true. What are some evidence that you see, even physically or emotionally, see that this thought is not true, and try to reframe it more into something positive. So, for this thought, you feeling scared, you have looked at the rubric and you know that, okay, I've checked off everything that I need to be checked off, that I need to do. And I've reread the essay multiple times, and I think it's good and it's perfect. And you've done everything in your ability to make this paper a paper. And so it should be perfect for you to turn in. And so just making it more on a positive end as well. And so I feel like you've done that in a good way already. Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, perfect. And so better, it's a little, I feel like that's a little bit less pressure on you as well. And so, and then I also can say that we all have, this thought of, we wanting to be perfect. And, sometimes mistakes are part of how we're learning as well. And that's just kind of how sometimes life is. And so I feel like with that, I can, even me, sometimes I feel like I want to be perfect at everything, but I know that mistakes are part of learning. And I do have a confidence that that essay is probably really good, and I'm happy that you've turned it in already and you're not still lingering on feeling scared or nervous or anxious to see what the outcome has for it as well. All right, yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, so we're nearly at the end of our time together today. So I want to start preparing for termination or the end of our counseling relationship as well. And I feel like you put in a lot of effort for these sessions, especially noticing your thoughts and trying to reframe them today, and even other sessions that we've had as well. And so as we wind down, what are some things that you feel like you can take away from this session today?
Today, I'll definitely very heavily consider like if I could mark off all the boxes on a rubric, my paper is fine to turn in. And also, um, just to remember like that it's always good to write the good things down, good thoughts, not just always bad days, good days as well.
Yeah, perfect. I really like that. That's wonderful. Your insight today honestly really shows growth and also self-awareness as well that I see from today's session and every other session as well. And so, I know that we won't be continuing the sessions, but for just some homework, I would like you still to continue practicing reframing your thoughts, whether it's a thought that you have about someone or thoughts that you have within your personal life or school or even your work life. To support that, I would like you to also keep continuing to read every 15 minutes each night, just something to calm you down or something even just enjoyable, something that you feel like that it's more fun for you at this point. Because I know even for me, I like to read and I feel like it's a great way for me to wind down, calm my mind, especially since we all have so many things going on in our mind. And so that's something that we can also still have as a hobby and enjoy it, but also still find the positives in reading. So that's something that I would still like you to still do either every night or every other night as well. And then the goal is for your mind to be consistent, to have a low pressure, and then also a way to unwind itself at night. Does that feel like something that you'll be able to continue by yourself?
Yeah, for sure.
All right, perfect. Well, I just want to say thank you for the work that you've done today and every other session that we've had. You were very open, reflective, and willing to try new techniques, which as a counselor, I'm always happy to hear that. I'll see you in our next future sessions if we ever do have any, and we'll continue building on the progress that you've made as well.
Yes, thank you so much. And I'll definitely continue the reading.
All right, thank you. Well, you have a good rest of your day, okay?
Thank you as well.
Bye bye.
Bye.